This YouTube couple has the internet enraged.
People aren't gonna get it.
They tried to gain sympathy.
Now I think the bull terrier is my favorite animal, period.
Oh.
But instead exposed just how horrible their decisions were.
It's something that can happen with the breed.
Why did they resort to the worst option?
This was not a decision we came to lightly.
Was there no other solution? Before I get into the story, I just want to put out a disclaimer. Please do not send any hate to Nikki and Dan Phillippi or anyone else involved in this story. This video is simply meant to report on the news and give some insight on the situation. These photos seem sweet. A family and their dog enjoying some time outside together. But what if I told you someone in these photos had their life taken shortly after the photo shoot? On May 3rd, 2021, Nikki Phillippi uploaded a video to her channel called "We Have Some Really Sad News." In her video, Nikki and her husband Dan explained they chose to put down their dog Bowser.
Bowser got Logan in the face. Obviously, it wasn't bad, but Logan still is...
has a little mark.
He's still healing up from a little mark on his face from Bowser's little, we call him his dolphin teeth.
Nikki and Dan said their 1-year-old son Logan had stolen Bowser's food while Bowser was eating, and Bowser got upset and retaliated. They claimed the reason for choosing to put Bowser down was the bite. They also claimed Bowser had been aggressive in the past.
He was an extremely dangerous animal outside the walls of my house. So he was definitely an outside animal that I had to keep inside.
They said Bowser's breed could be dangerous.
The guy that came over to help us with Bowser's passing, to put Bowser down, he's from Australia, and that was one of the first things he said when he got there, was he was like, whoa, these are the dogs that are used to hunt hogs because they're so strong. And he's like, you're so lucky that this didn't result in anything worse.
Bowser's aggression allegedly stemmed from an incident when he was a puppy.
Well, and Bowser was attacked when he was a puppy, and we never really talked about that very much, but that was a big turning point in Bowser's personality. So prior to the attack, Bowser could go to dog parks. Bowser was just calmer in general. And then after the attack, it just triggered something in him.
Dan and Nikki claimed they had tried to rehome Bowser, but Nikki and Dan said the Humane Society allegedly said it wasn't an option because Bowser had been with them almost since birth. Nikki and Dan also said 5 years ago they thought about putting Bowser down after he showed aggression against someone but decided against it. They spoke about how their son Logan was responsible for giving Bowser an ear injury.
Once Logan got to the point of being able to crawl around and run around by himself, you know, he's really grabby too. He grabbed onto Bowser's ear, and Bowser didn't do anything. You know, he's that calm, gentle giant that lives in my house. But you know, Logan got him so good that if you know what an MMA fighter looks like, or a wrestler, they have that cauliflower ear, it just balloons up. That's what happened to Bowser's ear.
Nikki also shared a story about Logan bothering Bowser.
But once he got older and he could move and he got feistier, it was Logan in Bowser's space. And Logan couldn't help but grab at him and try to steal things from him and try to interrupt him when he was eating or scream at him.
Dan brought up the movie Old Yeller, a movie where a boy is forced to end his dog's life, and said this.
I grew up with the movie Old Yeller, and I wanted to pick Bowser up by the back of the neck and take him into the backyard and down right there.
After they decided ending Bowser's life was the only option, they wanted to give Bowser a good last day. They did a small goodbye photo shoot as a family and spent the day together. Nikki explained,
you know, he was fed really good food, taken on a really beautiful outdoor drive. The weather, unlike today, was perfect. It was so beautiful. We played with Bowser in the back and soaked up the sun and just relaxed with him.
They hired a professional to come to their home so Bowser could pass comfortably at home.
It was a beautiful, perfect ending in our living room, in our arms. Calm. He freaked out a little bit, but then he calmed right down, and we were able to hug him and kiss him and hold him and thank him, you know.
Nikki and Dan began to get emotional, and Dan had to step away from the video. Nikki chose to read Dan's list of things they wouldn't forget about Bowser, such as how he smelled, soft spots on his nose, and how his tongue would stick out when he smiled. Nikki finished the video by saying she was going to do her best to keep her viewers filled in on her life, but they had a lot of unfolding and changing, and she thanked them for their support. The video immediately received a lot of backlash. The comments were turned off in the video, but that didn't stop people from turning to Twitter to express how they felt. On May 6th, Jaclyn Hill shared her thoughts on the situation. "I have a very temperamental dog. He bites people when he feels nervous, unsafe, or if you try to touch him when he doesn't want to be. I know these things because I'm his owner. Therefore, I make sure he's not in situations where he will react. I don't kill him. You guys know I pretty much never insert myself in drama, especially on a special day like today, launch day. But I'm just too disgusted, especially by the goodbye photo shoot. Like, what?" Jeffree Star responded to Jaclyn, "Exactly. I'm so disappointed that they even chose to share this information with everyone, but they are a master manipulator, so not surprised. Our dogs are our family, and I can't believe they chose this." Rachel Ballinger also posted her thoughts on her Instagram story. "How do you feel about the Nikki Phillippi dog situation? Absolutely disgusted by the whole thing. Things they could have done: got a trainer, rehomed the dog. What they did: had a photo shoot with the dog for internet attention and pity, and then killed the dog." LaurDIY made a video about the situation called "This is Cruel and Not Okay, Nikki Phillippi." In the video, she said she owns a bull terrier, which is the same breed as Bowser. She said she spoke to experts who said 99.9% of dogs can be rehabilitated. Laura spoke about the discrimination owners of bully breeds and the dogs themselves can face.
Because not only is it the most dangerous misrepresentation of the bull terrier breed that I feel personally responsible that I need to set straight, it's just not fair to the breed. And I know pit bull owners and all of the bully breeds face this kind of like literal discrimination on a daily basis, and I just don't understand how you can raise a bull terrier for 9 years and still have this completely incorrect view on how a dog can be bred for a certain violent activity that is just in their blood. It's in their DNA. No, the not.
She said there isn't an excuse for the Phillippis to not have trained Bowser, especially considering they have money.
They have access to any trainer that could have rectified this situation. There are limitless resources to training, and the reason that I keep coming back to training is that based on all the information provided, there is clear evidence that this dog had some serious trauma from a very young age that went completely untreated.
In the Phillippis video, they said they would carry the liability going forward if they were to rehome Bowser and Bowser hurt someone. Laura said that was false and they weren't trying hard enough.
There are always rescues that give you the option to sign the liability over to the rescue. And it just sounds to me that the time and the energy into finding other options was maybe just a little too complicated. It was a burden.
Laura seemed to be in disbelief about the situation.
They also stated verbatim, and this is the reason why he has now been is that he didn't attack the child. The child tried to take food from him. And then that was also followed by, he bit him in the face and it wasn't that bad. It was just a little mark on his face. It was just a little mark on his face, but now the dog is Make it make sense. If you know that your dog has aggression issues or possessiveness, and there's a situation where you're allowing your child to take food from your possessive and potentially aggressive or reactive dog, that is setting up everyone in that situation for failure in an unsafe environment.
She believed the entire situation could have been avoided if the Phillippis trained Bowser from the first time he showed aggression. On May 6th, Nikki and Dan both privated their Instagram accounts, and Dan deleted his Twitter. On May 7th, MannyMUA posted a screenshot of Laura's video to his Instagram story and wrote, "Miss LaurDIY did not stutter. Literally sick situation. Makes me feel physically ill." The same day, an article came out about the Phillippis on Today's website. In the article, the Humane Society of the United States spoke to Today about an inconsistency in the video. The Humane Society of the United States told Today that the nationwide organization had no involvement with this case. When contacted by Today, the Nashville Humane Association said they had no records of Dan and Nikki Phillippi and were not aware of any conversations about the euthanizing of Bowser. The Phillippis did not specify in the video which animal shelter they had connected with beyond saying the Humane Society, and they did not respond to requests for comment. On May 8th, Bowser's passing was discussed on the H3 podcast with Ethan and Ela Klein. Ethan was particularly bothered by Dan bringing up the movie Old Yeller.
Absolute psycho. Says because he grew up with Old Yeller,
Which
a
I don't
movie,
know what it is.
by the way, of this family has this beloved dog. The dog I think he gets rabies from an animal by defending the family, right?
Yeah, he gets rabies.
He gets rabies, which is when the dog gets rabies, they become dangerous and it's fatal. They're gonna die and they become like unpredictable. And so this guy says, Old Yeller, who had to be put down by the owner that loved him most in the world because he had an incurable disease, he's comparing that to a dog that nipped his son. His son was unharmed, and he wanted to immediately take him in the backyard and murder the dog in front of his son, by the way, who was at the house at the same time.
Hila and Ethan were repulsed by the photo shoot.
Your dog is healthy and happy.
There he is right next to the kid.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Happy and healthy. And look how happy and unscared the kid is not scared of the dog.
Yes, what do you mean? If you could do a photo shoot together, you could do everything else.
I'm so disturbed
Oh
by
my
this.
god.
I'm so disturbed by this story.
The Kleins pulled up an old video where Nikki and Dan are shown pushing their Yorkie in Bowser's face to antagonize him.
We started digging through some of their old stuff. Like, look at this, for example. Here's one of their old videos where they're antagonizing this dog, right? With their new Yorkie. It's a game for sick weirdos.
Ethan also pointed out some unsavory Twitter activity from Nikki and Dan from the past.
The woman, by the way, liked a tweet saying, bad dogs come from owners. Nikki Phillippi, who was facing backlash for putting her dog down, allegedly liked a tweet that said, bad dogs have owners. Her husband Dan allegedly responded to fans saying, does your husband know you are using the internet?
Nikki has since unliked the tweet. This wasn't the only unsavory thing to resurface about the Phillippis. In May 2018, they talked about adopting a child from Thailand. However, during the process, they learned they would not be able to post about the child on social media for a year after the adoption.
When that hit, we literally were like,
Yeah.
what? Like, we literally were like, wait, what? So we're like going around the house, we're like trying to figure out how this could work, like hashtag baby blur face, like what are we gonna do? Dan's like, maybe we could deal with that for a year, and we're talking about it and we're like, all right, let's pray about it, let's sleep on it, and then let's see how we feel in the morning.
It's not just a rule that Thailand it's not just a rule that Thailand has, like, oh, you can't share anything or talk about your kid for a year. It's that the adoption is not finalized until a year later.
They decided not to adopt from Thailand because they didn't believe they would be able to stick to the rule, and if they messed up, it could mess up adoptions for other families.
And so I'm like, oh my gosh, I almost Snapchatted while I was signing an NDA once. Like, I'm like, I'm gonna totally mess up.
In April 2019, they decided to look into fostering a child and were denied. Dan and Nikki speculated it was because the people responsible for approving them may have watched their videos. In their video, they talked about how a friend of theirs was denied being a foster parent because they used to spank their children. Dan and Nikki said they found it ridiculous to deny someone a foster child because they spanked their children in the past.
It's so ridiculous to be like, okay, there's a rule. You can't spank a foster child. And then people go, oh yeah, we spanked our kids in the past, but we don't even do it anymore. You could still, they said in our foster class, you could parent your kids however you want to. If you still spank them, that's fine, but you can't spank a foster kid.
They had to negate you. They actually said you might want to consider changing that.
Right, but they can't make you.
Yeah.
But they
supposedly,
like, if there's two different types of discipline going on in a household, it causes more issues. But to hear someone say, I don't do it anymore, and then deny them because they've spanked their kid in the past is completely
crazy.
It's crazy. And it doesn't make any sense in the vetting process of some Christian organizations. It just sounds, it's so dumb.
So, what's the big issue? Sadly, many dogs are put down yearly. Putting a dog down should always be a last resort. Dogs are beloved members of the family. There are many things that can be done to protect yourself and the dog before turning to something so drastic. The Philippis had Bowser for almost a decade. They said he had shown aggression in the past, but this seemed to be the first time he had bit a human, so it's likely Bowser had never shown serious aggression. Furthermore, it seems the reason for Bowser's outburst was because their son stole food from Bowser. But this seems to be a common behavior that can develop in dogs according to the ASPCA. This is known as food guarding. Guarding things from humans or other animals is an instinct dogs have, descending from their times as wild animals. It can range from picking up an item and running away with it, to aggression and even biting when someone tries to take what they're guarding. Food guarding isn't something that necessarily needs to be fixed. Usually, pet parents can take precautions to keep everyone in the house safe, such as leaving dogs alone to eat, putting up a barrier so the dog feels safe while eating, and not taking the dog's food while it eats. For example, the Philippis could have had Bowser eat in a different room away from Logan, or they could have taught Logan not to touch Bowser when he's eating. However, it can be risky when children are nearby. As we saw with Logan, children are more prone to grab at things and they don't understand a dog's warning signs like an adult would. You can also seek help from professionals. The ASPCA recommends consulting with a certified applied animal behaviorist or a board-certified veterinary behaviorist if you have concerns that your dog may bite you. You can seek help from a certified professional dog trainer as well, but make sure they're educated on treating food aggression. A dog's behavior isn't so black and white. Dog behavior specialists believe there are 7 types of aggression in dogs. Fear aggression is usually aimed at inanimate objects the dog may be scared of, such as vacuums, skateboards, or cars in motion. Territorial aggression is a type of fear aggression that is directed towards humans who enter a dog's territory. Idiopathic aggression is a type of aggression that is unpredictable, as it is not known what the dog's triggers are. Prey aggression is aggression shown towards prey, such as a dog hunting a bird or a squirrel. In-home aggression is aggression shown towards another dog when there are 2 or more dogs present in the household. Control-related aggression is aggression that has been taught to a dog through improper handling and management of the dog. Possession aggression is when dogs keep other dogs and humans away from their food, toys, space, etc. In Bowser's case, we can see possession aggression. The reason he lashed out was because Logan took his food. It's possible Bowser may have more than one type of aggression, but a professional would be able to better identify this. USA Dog Behavior shared some advice. If your dog is presenting with one of the types of aggression noted above, please seek the help of an independently certified dog behavior consultant. Using ill-advised techniques, such as punishment for aggressive behaviors, normally makes things worse in the long run. Since aggression in dogs almost always escalates over time, the early stages are the best time to start a treatment plan. And that's not all. Dogs can also have mental health issues. According to Vetfolio, just like humans, dogs can have generalized anxiety disorder. For humans, it is characterized by someone having excessive anxiety and worry about events or activities for at least 6 months. It has to be to the point where their anxiety is blown out of proportion to the actual likelihood of the event. For dogs, it shows itself in a number of ways, including trembling, urinating, salivating, hiding, holding their ears back, destructiveness, etc. Animals that have had a traumatic or stressful event happen to them commonly show some degree of low-level anxiety. Bowser was attacked as a puppy by another dog, so it's possible he could have had some level of anxiety that contributed to him biting Logan. According to veterinarian Dr. Sharon L. Crowell-Davis, treatments for anxiety include different types of medication, similar to what humans would take, and training protocols. Dr. Crowell-Davis recommends a stable, predictive environment, which is important for dogs with anxiety issues. There doesn't have to be a strict routine, but there should be some familiarity in the dog's day-to-day activities. It's important for families to understand there needs to be patience when working with dogs. Family members should try to be relaxed around the dog and avoid getting the dog upset. Putting a dog down should be the last resort. However, like LaurDIY said, most dogs should be open to change through training. If someone is thinking about putting down their dog due to its behavior, they should first look into the other options. They can talk with a vet about getting in touch with a certified canine behavior consultant. The behavior consultant can take things into consideration like the size of the dog, if there are warning signs before attacking, and the threat to physical and mental harm it poses to decide what the best type of training the dog needs. Vets can also prescribe medications to help with their behavior. However, medications should not be used alone and should always be used alongside behavior modification. If you can't find a solution for your dog to be able to stay safely or comfortably with your family, another option is rehoming it. Sometimes dogs need houses without children or other pets in order to thrive. The Humane Society can help find your pet a good, loving home that suits their needs. Owners can also look at management strategies. Erin Jones, a certified professional dog trainer and certified dog behavior consultant, says a muzzle is a great tool to use when working with an aggressive dog to make sure everyone stays safe. Additionally, a safety fence could be added to a backyard so a more aggressive dog can spend time outside without the owner fearing they could get in trouble. It's important that dogs get some time outside during the day to stretch their legs. However, no management is guaranteed, so it's always advised to look at behavior modification as well. Sadly, Bowser has already lost his life. Hopefully, going forward, people will reconsider putting dogs down so that dogs can live a long, happy life. Remember that there are no bad dogs, just uneducated owners. What do you think about this situation? What would you have done? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, hit the like button. To keep up on all the tea, consider subscribing to the channel.